Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Let's go. A lot of nine-finger boys in the village, they haven't got much choice in the village. Model car, model wife, model village. Model farm, model right, model village. They ain't too friendly in the village. There's a tabloid Freddy in the village. He's not a racist part in the village. Gotta drive half cut in the village. Model low crime rate in the village. Model race, model hate, model village. Got my head kicked in the village. There's a lot of pink skin in the village. Hardest man in the world in the village. Said he got with every girl in the village. Take flight, take flight, take flight. Take flight. Modern village. I beg your pardon. I don't care about your rose garden. I'm listening to the things you say. You just sound like you're scared to death. Still not in love with the village. Homophobes by the time in the village. A lot of overpriced drugs in the village. A lot of half-pint thugs in the village. Model car, model wife, model village. Model farm, model right, model village. I don't see a lot happening in the village, but I see a lot of gammon in the village. Just give them an anthem and they'll sing it, so they don't know the meanings yet. I don't know the village. Idiots still spit their kid. Model low crime rate in the village. Model race, model hate, model village. No village feels like a self-village. Still someone's making a killing. Take flight, take flight, take flight. Modern village. I beg your pardon. I don't care about your rose garden. I'm listening to the things you say. You just sound like you're scared to death. To laugh as the curtain switches, and the villagers are burying the riches, but the villagers don't know what rich is. Just snitches, snitching on snitches. Only one thing to do in the village, just say to the new to the village. Smith after 10 Chardonnays, making me a nice cookie. And you like them cliches. Let's seize the day, all hold hands as it brings away. Let's seize the day, all hold hands as it brings away. You can do it. You can do it. Yes, you can. Wow! I am I, and I intend to go. Like Frida Kahlo painting on the poor on your fuck off wall. Like Tracy Emin in a one-make bed listening to the fall. Like Flav in the club running on the back of John Wayne. Like David Hasselhoff clubbing steel clubbers with LeBron James. How'd you like them cliches? Now seize the day, all hands as it bricks away. Now seize the day, all hands as it bricks away. You can do it. You can do it. Wow! It's all about the confidence. Your joke, I'm fucking saggy. 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 Let's seize the day, all hold hands as it bricks away. Let's seize the day, all hold hands as it bricks away. You can do it. You can do it.
IDLES live on KEXP at home from Abbey Road. Man, so good. Firing on all cylinders there.
Yeah, it's intense. I mean, watching that just really makes me want to get out and do some more of this. It's great.
Yeah, me too. It just feels so good. Thank you so much. Needed that really bad.
Me
that
too.
Kathleen Hanna
too.
line is so good. Quarantine Classics. You just heard Mr. Motivator and Model Village, both of them on the brand new IDLES record that came out on September 25th. Now, it's so good. I want to know about the record. It seems like you toured and worked so hard on Joy as an Act of Resistance and then went really right into the studio.
Yeah, like we wrote. Well, we were working on this album the whole time on tour, so it was like we really came up with the concept like almost immediately after writing Joy as an Act of Resistance, where we wanted to really streamline everything down and kind of get it down to its most like essential form, and then work off everything from that. This was like in an attempt to kind of make things hit sonic markers that we weren't really hitting with Joy as an Act of Resistance. We really wanted it to propel itself out of the speakers.
It's amazing because that record Joy is so intense and bombastic and brutal, and this one Ultra Mono is even more so.
Yeah, we wanted to see how far we could take those ideas. So what really helped was like working on this stuff on stage. So like a lot of these songs are going to work so much better in the kind of live arena because you've got massive speakers and subs and everything that's there, like in the really kind of like low end, like depths of like 50 hertz, you'll get that live. And we just wanted to try and transfer that as much as possible into the recording process and onto the album. So I think we were successful.
The drum sound is amazing. The drum and bass, the bottom end on the album, that was one thing that jumped out just right away. How
Yeah, the best thing about that was, so we recorded in Le Fret Studios in Paris with Nick Launay and Adam Greenspan, and we turned up, and it's this amazing, like, old, kind of big old house on the outskirts of Paris, like separated, kind of like way off away from everything. And we went in, and like I'd seen people record there, like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds recorded there, the Arctic Monkeys, and there's these like very beautiful rooms upstairs, and we were like, oh, this is exciting. We're going to be recording in these beautiful rooms. And Nick was like, okay, let's go down to our recorder. We kept like walking down this like creaky stairs, and we went into their like storage room. And he was like, we're going to be in here, because it was the walls were brick, the ceiling was brick, and the floors were brick. So it just made John's drums like this cacophonous thing. So yeah, that was a real trip. But like, I mean, they absolutely nailed the drums on this album. I've never heard drums sound like it.
Yeah, I haven't either. And the whole album sounds amazing. You did some of the production on it. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was kind of like a lot of the times with IDLES stuff, we've got a really sure idea of what these songs are going to sound like in our head. And the 2 albums previously, we kind of put a lot of trust and kind of allowed the producer to kind of to do their thing. And this album was no different, because the Nick and Adam they're just incredible. Like they're so knowledgeable and so fast. Like they really help with the recording process. But I felt so strongly about this album that I was just at every single stage, like every single noise that you heard has had me like pontificating over it for like a very long time. So it was cool to really kind of like that we'd grown in confidence to be able to do that, and the guys had kind of grown in confidence in me being the spokesman for the kind of sonics on it. So yeah, that was a real trip. Great.
That's cool, and it ties in with the manifesto, right? The concept of ultra mono.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, before you write songs, you actually, as a band, come up with an overriding concept as opposed to having a collection of songs and then trying to figure out how they fit together?
Yeah, exactly. I think that it just helps with our creative process. The more kind of restrictive we are with the creative process, the better our output is. And I think it's it's all about flow for us. Like a lot of our songs are kind of written in these like periods of flow where everything just kind of comes out when we're not thinking about it. But in order to kind of get there quicker, or to get there eventually, even sometimes you struggle for 6 months and flow never appears. Yeah. But in order to get there, we kind of like, we digest everything that we want this album to be. We talk about it at length. We kind of listen to, we create like a playlist that we all add stuff to, on a daily basis, and everyone's listening to stuff, and that all just like ticks back into your subconscious, so that eventually when you hit flow, all that stuff kind of, those markers are hit. And ultra mono is like was a real difficult one, because a lot of the identity of IDLES before that point was in the kind of chaos, like a lot of the stuff was performed live before it was recorded. So it has that kind of chaotic live energy and things going wrong and big mistakes happening, but you leave it in and stuff like that. Whereas this album required concentration and playing with each other and towing a line. But we eventually got there. It took us like right up to the wire though. We were like writing songs just before we went in the studio. But
yeah, it works really well. It's fantastic. For me personally, I got the record a couple months before it came out, but I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't listen to it. I waited until the 25th, and at midnight I put it on and went to the AF Gang website to kind of create some kind of communal experience around the first time digesting the songs other than the singles. I love that idea of getting into the zone, right? And so back to that a little bit. So on the tour bus and stuff, as you're touring around, you're distilling ideas and coming up with the concept? Yeah,
I mean, like Joe and I will like, me and Joe share a room on tour. So whenever we're like in hotels, like we'll wake up like an hour and we'll just sit and talk about what the album is, or like what these concepts are and how they kind of relate. I think one of the big things is relating the music to the lyrics. So like what he's kind of thinking about what he's going to write. And then the music always comes first. Like we always like have complete full finished songs, and then Joe writes on top of it. So it's good to kind of know where he's steering, where he's going, what he's thinking, so you can kind of gesture that in the music. And yeah, it's a strange thing, but like, I mean, on this album specifically, a lot of it was about, so like, because we had to distill things down into its like simplest form, one of the things we realized with that was that requires a lot of confidence, like to be able to play something really simple and live with it and walk away from it requires a lot of self-belief and a lot of confidence. So then that became a big theme on the album. And then almost dealing with like the repercussions of writing simple stuff. So like, you know, a lot of like, you know, on Joe talking about how do you like them cliches and talking about sloganeering and stuff like that. Like it's almost like we're directly kind of dealing with people as they're listening to it. They're like, yeah, we get it. It's simple.
Yeah, so, and that's addressing critics to some extent. I was curious about that, like what kind of pressure you felt after Joy is an Act of Resistance, which really catapulted you to a new level of community. You built this amazing community, tons of fans, some critics. So you're getting accolades. You're also getting some criticism. And it's got to be hard to, well, I don't know if it's hard. Like, how do you turn off that noise, or do you turn off that noise? And is that part of what you mean by having self-confidence?
Yeah. I mean, that's another like driving factor behind the concept of ultra mono. So, the other thing is like there's so much noise going on around the band, like even within the band, like playing guitars spilling in different directions. And we wanted to kind of narrow that down so that the message was clearer. And there was so much noise around the band, you know, positive criticism, negative criticism. I mean, it was all mostly positive, like for Joy, but you can really lose your sense of identity in that noise, and you can lose your intentions as well. Like you know, self-esteem acts both ways, and it's unhealthy for your self-esteem to kind of deal with positive criticism, and it's unhealthy for your self-esteem to deal with negative criticism. Like you should be doing things for yourself and yourself only. So again, that's one of the struggles that's on the album, and I think that's clear that it's a work in progress.
Yeah, that concept, ultramono, editing things away that don't matter, ultimately getting to your truth, right?
Yeah.
Not just musically, how you live your life.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's kind of like, it's just about centering yourself. Like it's, you know, again, like a lot of stuff we did around this album, like we got into meditation, things like that, and almost like the dissolution of the self, but you kind of have to really get up close with yourself before you start to lose yourself. So that's what it is. It's just about a reaffirmation of identity and centering yourself. Just so that it helps you get on with the world. Like when you understand the like basic principles. It's like this is a really weird segue here, but so like whenever I was working as a dentist and I was a young dentist and I was like trying to take out a tooth and I couldn't do it. Like I remember my like I don't know what they were called, like a VT trainer, like it's basically an older dentist who's your mentor, and he would come in and he'd be like, just start at first principles, like what are you trying to do here? Like, and he'd talk through it and you'd be like, oh, right, you have to do this, this, and this. And I think that recentering yourself and kind of going back to what your intentions are in its simplest form, like so that it's unnuanced and you can't even mistake what it is. And then that helps you then progress from there. So that's kind of what the concept is.
Yeah. When you say we got into meditation, the band, do you meditate together?
And we don't meditate together. We haven't got to that stage yet. No, we all do various different kinds of meditation. Joe does, I think he goes out for walks and kind of uses that as a meditative process. And I do like lots of guided meditation and stuff like that. I know Lee and John have recently started. Dev is like, I mean, he's Buddha, so he's already like way beyond everyone else in meditation. He's very good at unthinking.
That's cool. Unthinking. Jonathan Richman, you know him from Modern Lovers, the band. He taught me how to meditate before a show. It was strange. It was a cool way to learn. So the album was recorded in the fall, and man, a shit ton has happened since then. So, how did that feel? How does it feel putting out an album right now?
It's strange. We had a lot of conversations as this was kind of developing and revealing itself, what was kind of going on in the world. And it felt weird listening to the album and seeing how prescient a lot of it has become. Like, a lot of that stuff we were talking about with self-esteem, that leads to kind of feeling a bit isolated, and a lot of noise. When there's too much noise going on, you feel isolated within that. So it's almost strange how there's been an actual imposed isolation, like a physical isolation that people have been brought to. And then just like a lot of other stuff going on in the world has really ramped up. And it's felt like now's the right time to release this album. We could have done what a lot of other bands have done and kind of just battened the hatches and kind of like just kept everything simple, not tried to do anything too drastic, like release an album, too risky, like release an album in this time. But it feels like it's the right album for the moment. I think it certainly represents a lot of fears, anxieties, and anger that I have, but also a need for unity and community and communication. So it just feels entirely appropriate to release it now.
Yeah, as a fan, I have to say that, man, I needed this album. It really hits hard right now, lyrically, sonically. And it's amazing, given that it was recorded in September in the fall, that conceptually and thematically, it's hitting all the right spots and addressing a lot of the issues that are at the forefront right now. And I guess as an artist, you feel that, and things have obviously transpired since you recorded it, but thematically, the album is spot on.
Yeah, it's kind of. I always like to think that like songs evolve anyway. Like a lot of the stuff that we're playing from album 1 or album 2 or even songs before that, they've kind of evolved and grown, and their meanings they become more prescient because you have this tool. That you've got this tool, this song that can help you deal with things. So the meanings behind things, or even just the attitude and emotion behind it can really transform as you transform with it. So yeah, it's just strange how more real this album has become. It almost felt like it was like this hyper real thing at the time. Like we were really pushing everything to an extreme form, but actually now that's the world that we live in.
Yeah. IDLES' new album, it's Ultramana. We're going to hear a couple more songs from it. I think we're going into War next, live from Abbey Road Studios. Tell me a bit about War. This is the lead track on the album.
So we always write the first song first, and it kind of helps us understand where we're going next. And it's a declaration of war. I mean, that's it. It's a declaration of war against war. And it's also this like obtuse statement, like shouting anti-war. Like everyone's like, yeah, everyone's against war. But like, I mean, are they? Like there's wars going on. There's a proxy war going on in Yemen. There's wars going on all over the Middle East. There's wars going on being fought all over all sorts of countries, and I think that it's appropriate to bring up that like people don't want that. They want to move on. They want people to strive for peace. So it is exactly, it's the album encapsulated into one thing. We're saying something obtuse that maybe people think should go without saying, but doesn't look like that when you look at the world around you.
And it's deeper than that. Here in the U.S., things are so polarized. It feels like there's a war going on leading up to the election here.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to bring it up. I thought it was appropriate for you too, but yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. Like the war has taken other forms, and there's a real polarization and a disparity between people with different values, people with different opinions, people with, I mean, even like physical people being separated physically now, and it's just about understanding that bridges can still be built between that. It's not about ramping up those differences and arguing with each other until someone wins. That's a war. What is effective is listening and progressing through building bridges. We think, anyway.
Yeah, tolerance, respect. Let's hear this anti-war anthem.
Let's go.
It's IDLES live here on KEXP.
That's the sound of the soul going in. Clack, clack, click, clack, clack. That's the sound of the gun going bang, bang. Took, took. That's the sound of the drum button pusher. That's the sound that the children took on. This means war and day war. Out into the sandbox, baby. Send Johnny into open fire. Send out into the sandbox, baby. We're dying for the stone-faced light. Send Johnny to the sandbox, baby. Send Sally into open fire. Send Johnny to the sandbox, baby. We're dying for the stone-faced light. Oh, so tough. Catch me staring at the sun, not sucking on a dum-dum, not turning around to run. No hallelujahs and no kingdom comes, so you will not catch me staring at the sun. Do you hear that thunder? That's the sound of strength in numbers. Fee, fi, fi, fo, fun. I smell the blood of 1,000,000 sons, 1,000,000 daughters from 100,000 guns, not taught by our teachers on our curriculum. Do you hear that thunder? That's the sound of strength in numbers. single thing has ever been mended. Why are you standing there and saying you're offended? Go ahead, tell them what I've intended. I'll say what I mean, do what I love, and fucking send it. Do you hear that thunder? That's the sound of strength in arms. It's nothing brave and nothing useful. You scrawling your aggro shit on the walls of the cubicle. Seeing my racing classic suitable. So I raise my pink fist and say black is beautiful. Do you hear that thunder? That's the sound of strength in numbers. I am unified. Unify, unify, unify. Do you hear that thunder?
I hear that thunder. Idols live on KEXP from Abbey Road Studios, playing 2 songs from the new album Ultramano, 2 of the 12 anthems on this amazing record. You just heard Grounds and War. Bowen, man, that guitar part you play in War is incredible.
Yeah, it's it was funny, like going into the Abbey Road Studios, because we have never played these songs live before, and we made our lives really difficult. They're extremely hard to play live because it's just downstrokes. It's like the Ramones, but like 20 BPM faster. So it's like da 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 da.
So is it physically hard? Like you have to build your wrist and arm strength?
Yeah, our forearms are like Popeye's forearms at the minute. So, but. It's a good thing. It definitely propels things forwards and keeps it intense.
So this is a great live session. Thank you so much for doing this for KEXP. When you were here the first time, you said our live show is nothing without the people there. It's about community and it's about communing with the audience. So now we're here in 2020. The new album is out. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. I can't wait to hear these songs live with like hundreds of other people together. What are you going to do? What is the plan for the next rest of the year into 2021?
Well, we've got tours planned for next year. They might be optimistic.
I saw that. I saw when you announced that it was for May, I think it was.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, that's some positive intention and thinking.
Yeah, I think, we had tours obviously lined up for this year and they were constantly getting pushed back. So we were just like, right, let's pick a date next year and just hope for the best. And I think that like the big thing that I keep saying is that on the kind of pyramid of human need, of like what we need, like obviously safety and health, warmth, food obviously all come first, and we've got to work on that first. Safety is paramount, but the next one up is humanity, is social contact, and that's not just being able to speak to each other, but there is something that we all get as humans in being in a room and hearing a repetitive beat and hearing stuff really loud. Like it's a big thing for a lot of people, and we're by and large like there's a lot of clever people out there. So I'm hoping that we're going to work out something by that stage. There's talk about doing things this year as lockdown measures ease. But we just got to wait and see. Like, I'm not going to say Idols are never going to do a socially distanced show, because if we're a year and a half down the line, or if we're this time next year and you were to ask me, I'd be like, I would jump at any opportunity to play in front of anyone.
Yeah, you got to get creative.
Yeah, that's it. We got to work out what Idols could be, but it is about those bodies in a room, and it is about the exchange of energy that go between us and the audience, and the feedback loop that's created out of that. So I guess we've just got to try and be clever and work out how to do that.
In the meantime, I think I saw that you're doing record store tours.
Yeah. So we're doing these kind of like out store tours. One of the things about being the band the size that we are now in the UK is, like, by and large, we can't really play independent venues anymore for our normal shows. It just too many people want to come see us. I mean, that's sort of like a terrible excuse for some of the, but we really wanted an opportunity to give back to, like, both independent record stores, which are hugely influential and hugely part of our story as IDLES. Like, when we self-released our first album, and without these independent record stores picking it up, we wouldn't be where we are today. And same goes for these venues, these independent venues, where they're like, people call it like toilet tours or whatever, but like these are venues where, you know, it's between 100 cap, 200 cap. Some of them are a little bit bigger, but like, these are where bands kind of come through in the ascendancy. This is where you watch a band at their most exciting part, where they've kind of just formed and they're taking things a bit more seriously and thinking about things kind of a lot more, and learning how to tour and learning how to be together and perform live. And I think they're the most exciting kind of arenas to see music. But unfortunately, they also like get by the skin of their teeth most years when people can turn up to shows. So we wanted to be able to give back to those venues. So we're putting on a lot of shows in those venues, and hopefully generate some money flowing through there as well.
Thank you for doing that. I mean, those independent venues and independent stores are essential part of the music ecosystem. As you mentioned, they're taking chances, right, and creating opportunities for artists, and hope as well for artists, that they can have their creativity and their music heard. And
it's where the stuff that's on the fringes exists as well, and that stuff is so important for like the evolution of music and the progression of music. Like there are bands that are only selling like, you know, a 50 vinyl run that in 30 years time are going to be the band that everyone sounds like, that everyone's kind of picking up on, and they're playing those venues right now, and it's essential. Like it's huge, and it's very short-sighted to overlook them, you know, with government funding and things like that that's happening over here. Money tends to flow to the top and the kind of more profitable things that are maybe more likely to withstand this, I guess, might be their logic. But it's short-sighted to ignore the fringes, because that's an essential part of culture. Yeah.
Well, the new album, Ultramano, certainly gives me a sense of optimism and hope for the future. And really, thank you so much for doing this session, for IDLES doing this live on KEXP session, and Bowen, for you taking the time to chat today.
Honestly, it is always my pleasure. I would do anything for you guys. Don't you worry about that.
Can't wait to see you live in person. Can't wait to have you here in Seattle again. And be well, stay safe.
Thank you.
The IDLES here on KEXP. Thanks, Bowen.
Discover new music at listener-powered kexp.org.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?